A break from the past painting traditions. There were several areas in Impressionist artists moved away from the established practices of art at the time. These involved the use of color, their choice of subject matter and settings, and their technique for capturing light and conveying movement. Color and light. The painting conventions and technique of earlier periods were very concerned with light, form, and composition. It's very different from the Impressionist painting with freely brushed colors that says more for a visual effect and detailed rendering of the subject. They used a very short stroke and that were intentionally or a very short broken strokes that were intended to be visible to the viewer. He also often placed pure unmixed colors side by side rather than blended smoothly or shaded. The result was a feeling of energy and intensity as the colors appeared to shift, move again, just they do in reality. So, Impressionist painters also painted everyday subjects. The painters began to break from the creation of formally posed portraits, grandiose depictions of mythical, literary, historical, religious subjects. They ventured in capturing scenes of life around them, like household, landscapes, seascapes, houses, cafes, and buildings. They painted the outside of the studio and went outside. They presented ordinary people seemingly caught off guard doing everyday tasks of work and leisure, doing nothing, and they were not made to look beautiful or lifelike, as body parts could be distorted and facial features merely suggested by a few strokes of brush. They painted outdoors. The location of Impressionist painters was so different. The live portraits and landscapes usually painted inside the studio. However, Impressionist painters cannot get best capture ever-changing effects and lights and colors in painting. Open composition. Impressionist painting also moved away from the formal, structured approach in placing and positioning their objects. They experimented with unusual visual angles, size of subjects that appeared out of proportion, off center, placement, and empty spaces on the canvas. The influence of photography. Photography in its early stages at this time as well as gained popularity. Photography inspired Impressionists to capture fleeting moments of action, whether in landscape or in day-to-day lives of people. But whereas camera snapshots provided objective true-life images, the painters were able to offer a subjective view of the subject, expressing their personal perceptions rather than creating an exact representation. They also had the advantage of manipulating colors, which the photograph at the time was still lacked.